Polo is often called the sport of kings. Now the mogul who built his fortune promoting it finds his fate about to rest in the hands of ordinary citizens. Good evening. I'm Michael Williams.
And I'm Kelly Dunn. After 2 years of maneuvering, the legal battle moves into the courtroom in the DUI manslaughter case of John Goodman. He's accused in the death of 23-year-old Scott Wilson.
News Channel 5 crews were the only ones there to record his arrival this morning for the start of jury selection in a case under a national spotlight. News Channel 5 anchor Jay Cashmere at the Palm Beach County Courthouse tonight to begin our live team coverage and analysis of this high-profile case. Jay?
Kelly, Michael, day one of the John Goodman criminal trial is over today. A heavy day of jury selection. Tomorrow, court resumes at 8:30 in the morning. More jury selection headed for a full day tomorrow as well. Really trying to find 6 men and women who will decide whether or not John Goodman contributed to the death of Scott Wilson. Now, this case, you'll remember, stems back to a very dark and tragic night over 2 years ago on February 12, 2010. There, 23-year-old Scott Wilson lost his life after John Goodman allegedly ran a stop sign and plowed into Wilson's Hyundai, sending it into a canal. Goodman walked into court this morning facing 2 charges of DUI manslaughter and vehicular homicide. Will he spend 30 years behind bars or less, or will he walk free? Today, dozens of potential jurors were questioned at length about details of this trial. How much do they know? Are they attached to this case? Do they have an opinion about John Goodman, the man who built an empire in Wellington with international polo? News Channel 5's Alex Sands has been covering this first full day of testimony, interviewing jurors, potential jurors, and he'll be here throughout this case. He joins us live from the other side of the Palm Beach County Courthouse with more analysis on today's developments. Alex.
As you know, Jay, much of his day has been spent narrowing that jury pool for that substantial pool of 80 at one point today, really narrowing that field of all those people to find 6 impartial voices that can pass judgment these coming several weeks. It's a long, arduous process, hours of pointed questioning.
I come from Wellington. I know a lot about this case.
2 years after Scott Wilson's death, John Goodman looked on as 60 jurors were called to the courtroom. Much of the focus was on months of media coverage. How much of it had they seen? Were they biased by it?
You said that you heard something about the DUI.
Nearly a dozen potential jurors were gone by noon. One had strong convictions about drunk driving. Another said sustained media coverage had clouded their judgment. Prosecutors contend John Goodman was driving drunk the night Scott Wilson was killed. Goodman's facing 30 years in prison. This trial, once it starts, Jay, could run about 2 weeks. It continues tomorrow. That jury selection process at around 8:30. It could be wrapped up by this time tomorrow afternoon.
Alex, thank you very much. Alex, continuing our live coverage from the Palm Beach County Courthouse on day one of the John Goodman trial. Coming up in just a few minutes, our legal analyst, Michelle Suskauer, will break down today's potential jury pool, really figuring out what type of jury the prosecution and defense are looking for. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Kelly?
Jay, thank you, and stay with News Channel 5 for the most comprehensive coverage and analysis of the John Goodman trial. We'll have live reports in every newscast throughout this trial. You can also watch it live, gavel to gavel, on WPTV.com.